Greetings YouTube, this is Sixus, and once again I'm bringing a deck profile of one of EV Sceptile's decks. This one specifically being his favorite one, his Gladiator Beast. And yes, I know that's going to be obsolete by October 25th due to the new support and Chaos Impact, but well, this is when he let me borrow it. So this is going to be going over how his is right now. Going into the main deck, we got 2 copies of Vandal. It's just a 19 attack normal monster. It's useful with Rescue Rabbit to try and get materials out on the field really quickly. And before we continue onward, all the effect Gladiator Beasts have the ability that when they've battled at the end of the battle phase, they basically tag out into another one from the deck, but it has to be one with a different name. So, for example, with Augustus, if you attacked with it, or if it was attacked, you can put it back into the deck, at which point you can special summon any Gladiator Beast that isn't Augustus from your deck. And when they also have an additional effect when they are special by the effect of a Gladiator Beast. Now, going into Augustus, this is a level 8, one of the 2 high level ones that we have in this. And with Augustus, it has 26 on attack. The high level is very important. And when this card is special by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, you can special one Gladiator Beast monster from your hand. And note, that does count as a special by the effect of Gladiator Beast, obviously, and it does not negate the effect. So, whatever Gladiator Beast you summon, you're going to be able to trigger the effect of. Looks really well with Darius. Next up, the other high level Gladiator Beast, we have the level 5 Gladiator Beast Noxus. With this one, when your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this monster to your field, and this card cannot be destroyed by that battle. And when this is special by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, including by itself, because it has a self-special summon effect, it's a foolish burial for Gladiator Beast. Send any Gladiator Beast monster to the graveyard. And again, this one is great just because of the fact that it's automatically going to be in a battle when it's summoned, and it cannot be destroyed by that battle. So it's going to tag out at the end of your opponent's battle phase because they're attacking you. Really great, honestly. Once we get into the extra deck, you're going to understand the reasoning for the 2 high level ones. Now, next up, we got 3 copies of Gladiator Beast Liqueri. Liqueri has a pretty okay effect. So, it has 18 on attack, but if it's summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, its attack becomes stream 100. Okay, good attack for level 4, but that's it. The biggest part is because it's the specific requirement for, which one is it? Heraclinos. And also because EV Sceptile was, he tried a lot to get that. It took him a while to get that specific card. So there's no way he's taking it out. Next up, 2 copies of Darius. So Darius, when it's special by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, lets you special one Gladiator Beast from your graveyard, which is really good, especially when you summon it off of the effect of Augustus, because that's a good way to get 3 monsters on the field. And on top of that, Noxus sets up perfectly for this one. So let's say your opponent attacked, you use Noxus effect to take the attack, then you use its effect to send, I don't know, let's say Bestiari to the graveyard. You can then tag out for tag out for Darius, which in turn will bring back the Bestiari that you sent to the graveyard. Oh, and one more thing. If Darius leaves the field, the monster you summoned gets returned to the deck, I believe. When this card is removed from the field, okay, yeah, it's returned to the deck. And also the monster you summon has its effect negated, which is why I said Bestiari specifically, because that has a very useful fusion. Next up, we got Equeste. When this one is summoned by the effect of Gladiator Beast, you can add any Gladiator Beast card from your graveyard to your hand. Next up, because he wins the Fire Formations, specifically Tenki and Tensu in this deck. He also wins Bale, because not only does it have the ability to search out the Fire Formations, but it can also be used as monster removal by using up one of the Fire Formations. Next up, we got three copies of Bestiari. This one on summon by the effect of a Gladiator Beast can destroy one spell trap card on the field. Note, this is mandatory. So sometimes Darius negating this card's effect when it brings it back is useful, because if your opponent doesn't have spell trap cards but you do, that can occasionally backfire. And when we get to the extract, you're going to understand why we're using 3 copies of that. Already talked about Rescue Rabbit with Andal. Next up, we got 3 copies of Test Tiger. Test Tiger can special itself from the hand if you control a Gladiator Beast. And while this is on the field, you can tribute it, target a Gladiator Beast monster you control, return that into the deck, at which point you can special summon any Gladiator Beast from your deck and treat that as a special by the effect of a Gladiator Beast. So basically this is a means of tagging out without actually going through the battle phase. And then the other way to get Andor to tag itself back in. Then we got 2 copies of Gladiator Beast Respite, really good for adjusting your hand. You see, with this one, it's so for 2 Gladiator Beast cards from your hand into the deck, then draw 3 cards. So let's say you have Andor in your hand, which you don't want in your hand because you want to use it for the effect of Rescue Rabbit, which only uses them from the deck. That's very useful for that. And can... Oh, wait, as far as ones you don't want to see in your hand, you also don't want to see Augustus due to its high level. Meaning it's just very good for adjusting not only your hand, but which ones are in the deck. Then 3 copies of their own their own version of Emergency Call. This one is Gladiator Proving Ground, not a Gladiator Beast card, so it's not searchable or returnable, but it can just search any level 4 lower Gladiator Beast, which is really good. Not a hard one to return either. Then 1 copy of Monster Reborn. It's Monster Reborn, what can I say? 2 copies of Trentristors. Our Bestiari is spell trap removal. Sometimes you need that a little bit more immediate than after the battle phase. Then 3 copies of Tenki. As far as the Beast Royals we won, there's Liqueri and Darius and admittedly Andor, but you're not going to start that one out. But yeah, there's some good options for that. 2 Tensu, so you can get additional summon of a Liqueri or Darius, which is especially good for Liqueri, as his fusion takes Liqueri and 2 other Gladiator Beasts. So you definitely need the field drawing. And here's one that I guess it's a more gimmicky one that EV Sceptile ones. It's Infected Male. So it's a continuous spell that says you can once per turn target a face-up level 4 or lower monster you control. It can attack your opponent directly this turn, but send it to the graveyard at the end of the battle phase. But here's the thing, they're Gladiator Beasts. They're going to tag out before they get destroyed by this effect. Meaning you can just attack without having to worry about your opponent's monster. Deal some good direct damage. And yeah, this works out really well. Then 2 copies of Double Tag Team. This normal trap just says when you special a Gladiator Beast monster, you can special a level 4 lower Gladiator Beast monster from your hand or deck. Yeah, Simple. Yeah, it's going to be replaced by the new continuous spell that they're getting. And finally, we got one of their 3 counter traps. This one being their good one, because it actually has Gladiator Beast in the name. So with this one, if you control a Gladiator Beast monster, you can negate the effect of an opponent's effect monster. Very simple to the point. Now, one more thing I want to bring up. None of these Gladiator Beast cards have a hard once per turn on them. None of them. Not Proving Ground, not with Spite, not Test Tiger. None of them have a hard once per turn on them, which is kind of rare to see nowadays. Now, into the extra deck, of course, we won 3 copies of the Link. The Link they're going to be getting in Chaos Impact is a lot better than this one. So this one takes 2 Gladiator Beast monsters. This card itself is a Link 2 with the same bottom arrows as you expect from like a Mrs. Radiant kind of card. It has 2000 attack, very useful for a battle focused archetype. And if a Gladiator Beast monster you control attacks, it cannot be destroyed by that battle, and also your opponent cannot activate cordial effects in response. So effectively, it makes all your Gladiator Beasts into Ancient Gills. And like the other, okay, correction, with 2 exceptions, the other fusion monsters, once this Link attacks, you can tag out to special 2 Gladiator Beasts from your deck. And into the Xyz A1s for utility purposes, we've got Tiger King of the Brotherhood of Fire Fist. Takes 2 Beast Warriors. It's okay, simple enough. You got Andor, which can get to the field. You got Bestiari, which could, I keep on saying that, Darius, which can revive a Liqueri or Andor from the grave to make this. So I guess it's summonable enough. And of course it can just detach a material to negate monsters on the field. Okay. Castile, which, well, it spins a card back into the deck. And Abyss Straddle to lock off graveyard effects. On to the actual fusions. We have 2 Heraclinos. With this one, this is the one that takes Liqueri and 2 other Gladiator Beast monsters. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. All these are contact fusions, so they have to be on the field. Hence why Tensu is kind of important for the moment. So with this one, if your opponent would activate a spell trap card, you can discard a card from your hand, negate that. Again, not once per turn, and works really well with the counter trap, as the counter trap stops monster effects. This one stops spell traps. And like I said, it can tag out into 2 other ones. Then we got Neurokius, which is the most generic one, taking only 3 Gladiator Beast monsters without any specific ones. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and if it attacks, pretty much just Gladiator Beast effect. Yeah, fairly straightforward. And yeah, can tag out into 2. Then we got 2 copies of Tamor Eredal. This is the best one that they've gotten, and the reason we won the Augustus and the what was that one? Noxus. Okay, so Tamor Eredal takes 2 level 5 or higher, so if you tag out into Augustus, special in Noxus from your hand, there you go. Now, as far as Tamor Eredal, this one cannot be used as a fusion material to like stop a loop, basically. Because guess what? Not a hard once per turn. Not a hard once per turn at all. So you can, yes, special in a Gladiator Beast fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring summoning distance. Yeah. And the ignoring summoning distance, that's doesn't even matter because they can still just tag out and go back into the extra deck purple. And it's always not considered a fusion summon because contact fusions is not a fusion. Weird situation that one is. And on to the final effect, I'm confused by this one. It says if a Gladiator Beast monster you control battled, you can stuff that one back into the deck and bring out another Gladiator Beast. So it makes the Gladiator Beast have Gladiator Beast effects. That seemed redundant to anyone else. Next up, we got Gladiator Beast and the Bata. This one's definitely going to be replaced when the new support comes out. So, and the Bata requires Augustus specifically and 2 other Gladiator Beast monsters. It has 1000 attack and 2800 defense. I don't see why this is wanting a 3 material fusion. Now, as far as its specific effect, if this card is special summoned properly, you can special summon 1 level 7 or lower Gladiator Beast fusion monster from your extra deck. So your only 2 options are, well, the ones we're going to talk about next. Gaizalis and Esidari. Then, yeah, the idea is just that this one's a quote-unquote easy way to summon out Taimo Eridol because it's a high level and it can bring out another high level. Problem is, it takes 3 monsters, including one that is a high level itself. So it'll be easier to go into Taimo Eridol. And yeah, like the other ones, it can just tag out into 2. Simple, straightforward, not really worth it. Then we're on to the spot removal of the deck. Gaizalis. This takes Beastari and any other Gladiator Beast monster. When this card is summoned, destroy 2 cards on the field. Yeah, well, specifically up to 2 cards on the field. And as with the other ones, if it attacks or was attacked, you can send it back to the extra deck, special on 2 from the deck. And now, Esidari. No, this one doesn't have an effect. It's just that it's a 5. So if you're in a situation where you can have a tag into Augustus, Augustus brings out Darius from your hand. Darius can then revive any Gladiator Beast from your graveyard. Use that one you summon as well as Darius to make Esidari. It's a 5. You now have a 5 and Augustus was an 8. So you can now go into Taimo Eridol. In case you couldn't tell, this was a lot easier to do before links, but the new support that we're getting in October is going to make it a lot easier to do. And once more, just as a disclaimer, this is not my deck, this is just EV Sceptiles. Personally, I would prefer, instead of the Andor Rescue Rabbit, I'd go with Rescue Cat with, which one is it? Samite, which is a level 3 beast. That way I could just use Rescue Cat to bring out the, what was it? The Test Tiger, which is a level 3 beast, as well as Samnite, which is also a level 3 beast. So that I think would be a little bit better, but no, that's just the way he built it. But anyway, yeah, that's his Gladiator Beast deck. In case you couldn't tell, he was very excited for the support that's coming out in October. Yeah, I cannot speak today. Anyway, that's over this time. Thanks for watching.